we're going to build something new, if we're going to say, all right, we're going to slice history in two and we're going to rebuild it. We can't say, okay, we've got a monetary system without actually a governance system. I think that comes before the actual money. Before we have money, before we have marketing, before we have a product, before we have blockchain, we got to look at governance. And then once we understand what our governance is, we then move on to what is our leadership. Um, so ideally, what does that look like, right? We have to first come together because you obviously can't get a whole bunch of people. It's like you can't get a bunch of oranges, a bunch of bananas, and a bunch of apples in the room and be like, hey, you know, how are we gonna, okay, whatever bananas and apples and oranges would do if they were in a leadership situation. So we first of all, and that's what I loved about what Balaji's doing, and he's saying cloud first, land second. So what are our mindsets? So we are grouping together and we've grouped together beautifully as a stats community. The reason why our community is so strong is because we all have a very similar Bitcoin morality ethos. So now we have to say to ourselves, well, how do we govern? Because uh, and that kind of also leads into the leadership. So let me just talk about the leadership first, because it's a little bit easier for me to understand, for me to explain. Um, you have to say to yourself, decentralized leadership is not isolated leadership. So we're not here to work in isolation. And I think that's where people get decentralization